what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, Car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Crime Door. Good to see everyone. So happy to have you guys. It's been a minute. I was like, it's been a minute. I do have a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to have a guest with me tonight, and you guys have all met her before. I have Nicole Brock with me, and Nicole's working with me on the Flora case. And I invited her to be on this live with me tonight because she feels similarly to the way I do regarding how people latch on to these cases and just behave very poorly. And so tonight's going to be a little bit different. You guys are going to probably hear and see a side of me that you're not used to. I have been vocal about this stuff in the past, but I am over the top sick of it. And so I will be calling out some people and really get to the bottom of this, because if we don't hold these people accountable for their behavior online, they just continue to do it. And I've always said that if we just be quiet and ignore them, they'll go away. But these individuals that I'm speaking of are not going away. These people continue to say things and do things that are so hurtful and damaging to these families. And I'm just tired of it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Nicole on with me. Everyone, please say hello to Nicole Brock. Hey, Nicole. Your mic is muted.
Oh, there we are. Sorry.
Good
Greetings,
job.
everybody. We're back.
There you are. Good to see you, my dear.
Good seeing you, lovely. Good seeing you.
So I'm just going to quickly say hello to everybody. True Crime Talk with Frank Meister's here. Good to see you, Frank. Hi, Mustang. Hey, 63 Clocks. Witchy Widow. Lynn, how are you? Hey, Jill. How are you doing? I hope you're feeling better. I hope things are going well for you. Hey, Jinx. Good to see you too, my dear. Thanks for being here. Hi, CJK. All the peeps, all the good peeps are here, I can see. Hey, Tech Death. As always, we love your music. Thank you so much for that intro. It's so awesome. Love you. Hey, Phil. How are you? Good to see you. Hey, Rescue. How are you, my dear? Good to see you too. Hey, Duchess. Hey, Gail. Just cope and see the Delulu beaches. How are you? Let's see. Hey, Paradise City. Hey, Lisa. Hi, Olivia, too. Hey, John. Good to see you, my dear. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all my mods for showing up because we may be trolled tonight. Who knows? Hey, Daisy. How are you? Hey, Priscilla. Good to see you, my dear. So good to see you guys. Oh, it's okay. People spell my name wrong all the time. I know it's I-N, not E-N, but it's okay. It's fine. I answer to many things. Hey, Duchess, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, Deb. Great video. The short on the Delphi stuff. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, it's really good to see everybody. Thank you so much for showing up because this is really an important live stream. I don't know how many of you follow Tom Webster, but I'm basically going to piggyback on Tom's live stream video that he did yesterday about don't feed the trolls. And I thought it was excellent, but I was so angry after watching it and realizing some of the things that are out there that are being said not only on Twitter but on Reddit regarding the Delphi victims' families. It's just beyond me, and we're going to talk about this tonight. For those of you who do not know who Nicole is, I want to introduce her to everyone. And she has a heck of a resume, you guys. She's a wonderful lady. And I'm really starting to just really feel like I've known her forever just by talking with her as much as we have. But she has been with the fire service for over 20 years. She became a captain with the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department. She's also an author and a motivational speaker. When you listen to her, she on my live stream that I did on Flora that she did with me, you can tell how motivational she would be because she's a great speaker. And she does really well when she's trying to get to the bottom or the gist of the meat of something. She has her BS in paramedicine. She has her MS in emergency management, and she is a Georgia certified emergency manager. She is also, which I thought I was highly impressed by. She is also an FAA licensed UAS pilot and a certified licensed paramedic emergency medical technician instructor. She's a member of the Cold Case Investigative Research Institute, and you guys will all remember that Cheryl Mack McCullum, that's her institute, and Cheryl was on my show as well. And she was part of the Emmy award-winning team as the forensic fire medic analyst. And Cheryl put me in contact with her because I wanted and needed help with the Flora case. And I lit a fire under Nicole, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And she is all in on the Flora case. And yeah, Fig, her resume is extremely very impressive. She's even more impressive just as a person. So, but welcome, Fig. Good to see you, my friend. Always good to have you in my chats.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It's so good to see you and have you here again. We are going to talk about stopping the madness and the fact that these cases are not a game, and that these are real people with real pain, real feelings, and why people feel that online they can jump into these cases and post things, create videos, create channels, create subreddits, create whatever, and just inflict more pain and suffering on these families. I don't think I will ever understand it. And I've been doing this now for quite a few years, and it never gets it's never different. You know what I mean? It's just continuous. And sometimes it's the same actors, but a lot of times it's not. It's just, I don't know if maybe you want to speak on that a little bit, because I don't know how active you've actually been on social media, but I'm sure that you do have a huge presence because of some of the things that we've discussed that you're active in. And I know you've seen this, so yourself with other cases. So what is your take on it as to why do people behave this way, or what is it about these cases that brings this element to them?
That's a good question. And I will say, first off, start with mental illness. There are a lot of unchecked people with serious, from minor to extremely serious mental conditions, right? Sadly enough, people take advantage. And I think it's just so much evil in the world now. It's just come to that place when you look at the amount of violence that goes on in this world, when you look at the amount of and then we're not just talking about just violence with random people that they don't know, but even within families, it's gotten so bad nowadays. It's really very, very disheartening. So I think a part of that, for the people who aren't in that aspect, you also have the other side of evil, where people are viciously waiting to tear someone's life apart. It's incredibly disheartening. And I don't think that there is, I don't know, I don't think there's enough regulations through the internet, that in social media, on these platforms, to be able to, how do you police these type of people? And I think what really needs to happen is, honestly, some of this stuff, and I get freedom of speech. You can't really do a whole lot with freedom of speech. But I believe also that there are some things that need to not go unchecked. I think they need to create some laws that says that these things, if you're trolling particular websites, like, there should be some type of an FCC regulation put in place where people aren't allowed in bad judge, bad on on cases like this. Again, like you said, these are people's real lives. These are people's real pains. I don't know. It really is disheartening that people sit around and hide behind, they call them keyboard cowards.
Oh my gosh, and they're so prevalent in this case. And I mean, I could list off on my, just off the top of my head, a number of creators that are doing nothing but harm.
Mhm.
And they have been since day one. And, they create all kinds of just horrific things about what the family members have done or,
Mhm.
or didn't do or whatever,
Mhm.
on both sides of the aisle here.
Mhm.
Because we talked about this, there
Mhm.
was a lot said about Galen as well, attacking her and what she went through with her case.
That's
So, I mean, yeah, I'm right now tonight, folks, focusing a little bit more on Delphi, but it's happened in both of these cases.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's just mind-blowing to me
Mhm.
how people have nothing better to do with their lives than to hurt other people. I,
Right.
I, I don't understand that mentality. I never will. I don't understand why people put so much effort into that when if they put as much effort into doing good things.
Right.
Imagine what our world would be like.
Mhm.
And I get it. It's so easy to be one of those cowards behind the keyboard because you're not you're anonymous. You can be whoever you want. And I think with social media, that's what we've seen in a lot of ways, is that
Mhm.
people have become something they're not in real life. Like they
Mhm.
are able to vent and do things that they would never do
Mhm.
to somebody, face to face.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that, just since the internet, came about, and it's just gotten worse, as you've said. And I think a lot of the temperature in our country right now is not bringing us together. It's dividing us, and this is another aspect of that when we see this. And to have someone go on a live stream, and I just found this out just right before I came live today. But to have someone go on a live stream and admit while Galen Rose was on that live stream that they exploited her. Who
That's
in their right
mind-boggling.
I mean, who in their right mind, you know? I mean, just like you said, they're not in their right mind
Yeah.
because, you don't do that to somebody that has just lost 4 children in a horrific way. And what, you befriend them, and you befriend them for almost 2.5 to 3 years, and lie to them and exploit them and do all these horrible things. What?
That's
You
a
know what I
different
mean?
kind of sickness. Yeah, that's a different kind of sickness there. That
I
is a
mean, that
different
is
sickness.
I mean, it's like I I I don't understand. And this person is is just vile, in my opinion,
Right.
because I mean, yeah, there's mental illness, but my God, at a point, there comes a point where you have to take responsibility for your actions. And if you're willing to go out on a live stream and admit to it and admit it to her, then you can't hide behind that, guys. It's almost like, you did it on purpose. Um, and liked or enjoyed the hurt that you created. I don't know. But
That's truly
Tom Webb,
sadistic. That's truly
no,
sadistic.
it is very um and and you know, she did admit this, and it's like I said, it's just beyond me that this happened. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because when we go back to looking at what's going on in the Delphi case, we have people who are out there, making all kinds of horrific tweets, posts on social media, whether it be comments or whatever. Um, you know, Abby and Libby lost their lives in a very horrific manner.
Yeah.
Their family members not only lost their child, but they've had to deal with this crap for 7 years. And, it took 5.5 years to get somebody arrested. And now they are still, by certain people out there, being accused of being involved in these murders. They have to listen to this stuff, you know. They have to hear about it. Whether, you know, people are like, well, they don't have to, you know, sign on to social media. You know, people use social media nowadays, family members of victims, to bring awareness to their cases. And they have every right to be here. In fact, in my opinion, they have more right to be here than we do. I don't know how you feel about that, Nicole, but that's my take on it. Because you can reach such a huge audience. And if you have a case that's unsolved, what better way to keep it out there and keep your loved ones' names out there than by social media? Okay. So, but here they are hearing all these negative, horrific things. And I can't even imagine how difficult it's got to be for them. But for those that don't know what's going on here, Becky Patty posted a post earlier, late last week. And she made a post. She posted 3 pictures of Libby. And she posted it on Facebook with a moniker that said, "Just thought I would get under someone's skin today." Becky and I are friends on Facebook. And I'm not friends with, there's only like 3 people from my YouTube world that are friends with me on my real Facebook. Becky Patty is one of them. And I saw that and I was like, what in the world? Why would posting pictures of Libby get under someone's skin? You know, I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. Well, come to find out, there are some tweets that have been done this year that have been by a person named Angela Sadlowski. And yeah, I'm using her name because her name is out there. She posts under her name. And because of what she posted on Twitter, I absolutely can't believe this. But this is what she wrote. "I'm honestly so fucking grossed out with the virtue signaling in Delphi and borderline resenting the victim families." She labeled anyone posting smiling, happy photos of the victims before they died as so fucking irritating. And she opined that it was simply leverage. She asked, "Am I an asshole?" That's my question. It is unclear what the full context outside the quote was, but since no one in these people's world is honest with her, probably because, I don't know, maybe they're afraid of her. I don't know. But yeah, Angela, just like Tom Webster said, you are an asshole. We didn't need the murder sheet to expose you, but they did. They have done 3 recent episodes, and you guys all know how I feel about the murder sheet when it comes to Delphi, and they have their own issues. But thank the Lord that they brought this to light. Further quotes that are attributed to her stated that Becky Patty has flying monkeys who have been controlling this case, literally using mafia and gang tactics to influence public perception. Are you kidding me? She described Libby's family as an all-powerful clan that have been treated better than the dead fucking victims. The family consists of law enforcement puppets since day one. Everything I learn makes me suspect family fuckery more and more. Not necessarily actual murder related, but there is some dark shit there. And those are quotes from Angela. If you don't know, Angela and Sue Wright are the ones who filed the complaint against Tony Liggett for violating the Hatch Act in Carroll County's 2022 sheriff's election. They were denied and told to pay over $6,000 for wasting people's time. She also was on the CW's documentary and ran a YouTube and Twitter account called The Unraveling with two people who used Reddit with usernames Yellow Jacket and Tobor. At the end of last year, the murder sheet was given access to private Discord messages that showed Angela said that bullying Nick McClelland, who is the prosecutor in the Delphi case, was her full-time job. And Yellow Jacket wanted to punch Judge Gull in the throat. In addition to many other similar messages that would leave most people shaking their heads in disbelief about how people can say these things when discussing the murder of two children. But this type of talk is sadly prevalent by some people following this case. Earlier this week, the murder sheet released 3 episodes based on Twitter DMs between those women and Bob Motta, Kara Weinecke, and Michael Osbrook. You all know that Bob Motta is the defense attorney who is pretty well known out there in the world. And they are attorneys, former attorneys who have assisted in Richard Allen's defense team with a variety of different issues. The messages were accessed by Tobor, who was the one who allegedly created the account and then gave access to Miss Sedlowski, or as Kevin from the murder sheet calls her, Miss Sladowski. I am just floored that anyone follows these people, talks to these people, or has anything to do with these people, let alone the defense attorneys in the Delphi case. I mean, what is, honest to God, people, what in the heck is going on here?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, Paradise City, thank you so much for your $4.99 super chat. I appreciate you so much. I just don't understand.
I don't even know where to begin with that.
I was just going to say, many in that group threatened the judge and Nick in what they thought was private, but court security is aware. And, you know, there was a lot going on behind the scenes. It's another reason why I don't get involved in Discords. I don't want any part of this. But can you believe that this is the stuff that these people have time to do?
And the fact that she's your friend, she's at least on your Facebook. So you guys have had conversation. You know each other. Becky, right? With
Becky Patty. Yes, Becky Patty and I have met face to face.
Absolutely.
And yes, she is she has become a friend, and I know she feels a kinship. She knows that I've lost a child. She knows why I started my Reddit sub Delphi's Daughters. She is aware of my channel here and everything that I do to try to bring light to the case and to definitely do no harm.
Right. But that's very heartbreaking. And you would think that someone would be genuine in these cases. Again, being, I don't know if she's a mother, but I mean, there's got to be something said for someone who would. Yeah, I'm speechless. I can't even believe I'm speechless. That is heartbreaking to say something so.
Becky is she is such a strong woman, and you know, she has gone through so much. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's fought that valiantly through all of this, through this whole nightmare of stuff. And you know, to wake up every day and pull yourself out of bed after losing your child, it's hard enough. It's just hard enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But to have to see this, whether it be in your inbox or, you're on, different forums, whether it be on Facebook or whatever, and, you've got people messaging you, oh my God, this was what was said last night, or this is what, did you hear this? Even if she didn't read it herself, it's being sent to her. And, it's like, so, I don't know, it's just, it's just, like I said, it's just beyond me, and it's so hurtful. And to know that she's going through this and that she had to make a post like she did, I hope I get under somebody's skin. And Kelsey is Libby's sister, who's the one who dropped them off. And Kelsey is also a friend of mine on Facebook and Twitter. And she posted that day a picture of Libby as well. So, I mean, they're all going through this. Kelsey has been dragged through the mud on social media, on YouTube, and everywhere. People have said that, she totally was culpable in this murder in some way. And, there's absolutely no proof of any of this.
Oh my gosh.
But people watch it. It's almost like it's just pure entertainment for them. And that, I think, is what is so disgusting to me. This isn't entertainment, just like we said in the beginning, Nicole, this is real people's lives and real pain.
That's right. That's right.
It's just, I know there's people out there that live for drama, and they live for creating chaos and all of that. But why in the world you would pick this kind of genre to be in, to do that, I have no idea.
None. And that's a cold soul. That has to be the coldest soul out there.
I
At
agree.
some point, the reality is, like we had said earlier, and I hate to beat this, but we can't get around the fact that these are real people's lives. These are real people's pains, and to consistently and to haphazardly and intentionally, most importantly, to intentionally be so vile, be so vile as to continue to rip the wounds, rip the scars out of these people's. That's so disappointing. I am like, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to process what you're saying, and it's like, what is the motivation? Like, even with that, there is no motivation, and I can't get past what you said. Getting up under, this is up under someone's skin, and then but the sister having posted the same day, it almost seems I would take offense for Kelsey. I would be, well, are you trying to point that at me? Because this is exactly what I did. Timing is everything. I tell people timing is everything. So it's, I would love to have a conversation with with the likes of those.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like there's times it's like you want to call them out, like I said, and say, what the heck is the deal? Why do you feel that this is what you have to do and this is how you have to be? And it's like, I know these people. Well, I know two of these people from Reddit. They were very, very loud and obnoxious on Reddit. So I know that, but I'm like, and I'm very well aware of their YouTube channel, The Unraveling. But at the same time, I never watched their content, and it was always being sent to me in my emails. People would chat me, and send me stuff and say, hey, take a look at this. Most of the time, I don't have time for that. That tonight, I was in the kickboxing class before I came here. I mean, I have dedicated time for my YouTube life, but I'm I've redone my life, and I'm all about health now, and being healthy and being active and being out there. So I'm not constantly just sitting on my phone anymore or sitting in front of my computer like I used to. And I know that there's people out there that are lonely, that don't have, whatever their means is, that, they spend a lot of time online and, whatever. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not here to talk about those people or whatever. All I'm saying is that, and I've said this to my followers and my subscribers for years, when you give an ear to these kinds of people or a platform, all you're doing is hurting the victims and the families. And to me, it makes the rest of us that are trying to do good, it gives us a bad name, because whenever you listen to the mainstream media and they talk about, does social media hurt cold cases or do they help?
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
Do they hurt or do they help?
Wow.
And I mean, when this is the kind of stuff that's going on in chat rooms and online, and you don't feel like they're helping.
Right. Wow.
And people went off the rails because some of these people actually inserted themselves into the defense's case. They contacted the defense attorneys. They said they had information that on this case, blah, blah, blah. The defense attorneys listened to them. One of these content creators that's one of the most vile and disgusting is in Australia. And he actually is a footnote and noted in the court documents of this case. And this guy, all he does is spew lies.
Oh my God.
Can you believe that? I mean, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, who doesn't vet who they're going to be talking about? The defense tried to call people that have been around this case from YouTube as witnesses. I mean, in court proceedings, it's insane.
What?
It's like, why would you? Yes. And again, the defense attorneys in this case are doing their job. They're trying to create chaos. They're trying to, they don't have a good defense for this man who's been charged, Richard Allen.
Right.
So their defense is, let's create as much chaos as we can. Let's create as much diversion away from our client. So we're going to talk about Odinism and Odinists and the fact that the girls were sacrificed by Odinists in the woods on a Monday afternoon in February in broad daylight. That's what they've come out in their motions and said. And we all are like, what?
What are you saying? What is that?
Exactly. So,
so they're doing their job.
They're doing their job.
They
are doing their jobs.
Yes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Sad but true. But they are doing their job.
But like I said, I'm just floored that these people have injected themselves into this case, and now they're working with the defense. And the defense went out there because Richard Allen is got public defenders defending him, and he's doesn't have any money, so they went out and created not an actual GoFundMe, because GoFundMe won't do that, but there's another company that does, and they're trying to raise money. And as far as I know, they've raised like $30-some thousand for his defense, which is just, and these people that I'm speaking of, some of these people have helped do that.
Right. Wow.
And it's just sad, Hey, Steve. How are you, my dear? Good to see you. Always good to have you with me. True Crime Web is a retired CSI.
Oh, wow.
From Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
She is amazing. She is absolutely, she gets all the thumbs up. She gets a high five. You
are so funny, Steve. Thank you so much. I love you. I got to meet him in person this past month. He was he goes out, he has a foundation, Nicole, and he actually goes out and assists families in cold cases,
Wow.
in unsolved cold cases, and he's working some real high profile ones right now. Well,
Right.
anyway, he made his way through my state and came through, and he and I had dinner together, and I finally got to meet him. And he's been a really close friend of mine for about 3 years now.
Wow.
And he's amazing.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
That is awesome.
So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, you know, how do
But you know what I
you
think we should do? You know what I think we should do is build a coalition, and we should go into their DMs, and we should go onto their platforms and troll them. Like, they need to be trolled back. A lot of times you look at people when they are flooded with shame on you text messages and shame on you, messages that are left in their inbox and on platforms for the world to see. That a lot of times shut them up, because that's not the attention that they're looking for. So I think that has to be something where a coalition of folks or people have got to not be afraid to reach out and say, shame on you.
see? That
Don't
was
listen
me.
at that person.
I probably reacted really swiftly today, but I was, after I saw Tom Webster's YouTube channel and I saw his, Don't Feed the Trolls yesterday. I
Mhm.
watched that last night late, and I was like, you know what? This made me so angry. I was not aware of this tweet that Angela made talking about Libby and the sharing of the photos
Mhm.
before they died. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Who says that? And I think I had such a visceral reaction because I too have buried a child. And I thought, if somebody said that to me
Mm.
about my own Adam, my own little boy, I
Mhm.
don't know. I think I would have gone crazy.
I would have
And
gone through
so,
the theater.
yeah, I mean, I was like, I wanted to slap somebody. I was like, oh my God. And so I was like, it's time. Usually I try to stay away from the drama. I don't try to bring it in here. We try to stay in our lane and do our thing, but I felt like somebody's got to call these people out by name.
Mhm.
They can't just keep hiding and doing this kind of stuff and nobody's saying anything. And I'm not, hang on a second. I don't know why, but somebody is, um, so, hold on a second. So I just want people to understand there's somebody who's trying to text me, and it's somebody that I respect, and I need to listen to him, but I don't have time right now since I'm live. But I I just want people to be aware that what you say online
Mm.
lives online forever.
Yes, it does. That's true. Yes, it does.
What you say and do online lives there forever.
Mhm.
And you need to stop and think before. I don't care if it's in a private chat. I don't care if it's in a Discord. I don't care. When you put it in writing and you press that send button or whatever,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
the done deal,
It
you
is.
know? And to hurt someone who is she's just a wonderful person.
Right.
Um, and she's been, like I said, she's been through so much, and it hurts me. It really hurts me. Um, and I'm tired of it. Like I said, I'm just tired of it. And I felt like it was um, a time to talk about you know, how to make it right. I can't control them. I don't know that anybody can, can control them, but I just don't understand. Like I said, I just don't understand people.
Hmm. It's really hard. It is. It's very disheartening because you're right. Things that are said can't be unsaid.
No.
You know, things said can't be unsaid. Mm.
And, my thought is I pray and hope that these individuals never,
Mhm.
ever have something like this happen to them or to their loved ones, because then they'll understand why the outrage.
Mhm.
When it's one thing to talk about a case and to have a theory about something, or think that think this or to think that, but to do harm to the actual
Mhm.
family members is
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Uncalled for, completely uncalled for. But that is exactly how karma works, though. You believe in the universe, what you send out, it will come back. And it may not necessarily come back in the form of how it was sent, but that's I'm very careful about how I interact and the things that I put out in the world, because I already know if I want good to come back, I have to put good out.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was me. It's just like when I spoke to Galen, my last live stream was I had Galen on, or was it the stream before? Can't remember. But anyway, and when I finally got to meet her, and God, I can't wait for you to meet her. She's just absolutely a treasure. She really is. She's got so much strength. That woman is just, she's amazing to me. But I told her, I said, Galen, I said, I never want to do harm. My whole purpose of having a true crime channel and covering your case and the Delphi case was to bring awareness and try to
Yeah.
get someone in the national media to look at Flora. That was my big
Right.
reason. Flora, I thought, good Lord, if I can get some of the 8,500 people that follow me, to share and talk about Flora, Indiana, and this fire and this horrific case, maybe somebody in the national media or national spotlight will pick up this case and talk about it.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I've never wanted to do any harm with any of the cases that I talk about. And I'm not gonna, I always think about that. I always think of, I guess because I am a mom who's lost a child, I always think about, before I say something, how is this going to
Mhm.
resonate with the family, or how is this, if they are here watching me, or if they tune in later and watch me, how are they going to feel about how I chose to tell their story? Because it's their story to tell, not mine, right?
Right. That's
So
right.
how we tell
Absolutely.
their story matters, just like
Absolutely.
what's scrolling on my screen. And I've said that now for almost 8 years. How we
Yes,
choose to tell their story matters.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Because here's the thing, that's you can cause pain, you can further cause, more pain and anguish, or how you tell the story could provide relief, and especially when in Galen's situation, in Galen's, storyline, everything we're doing is in support. And especially when you're out there and you're feeling alone, and she's had to go through this. And like you said, there was the admission that for 2.5, 3 years, she was being taken advantage of. So I can't imagine how that would feel like years later to know that, or to even get the admission of that. Like that would make me angry all over again.
Well, it's like, if you when you're down, and you're at your lowest point after the death of a child, you are as low as you could possibly be. She's got 4 children that she lost all in the blink of an eye. And you've got this person who befriends you and who tells you that they have all these ideas and all these great things, that they want to do to help you and all this stuff. And they, and that's exactly what Meow Zedong did. She jumped in and, and against my advice, because I was working with her that summer, and I told her, don't contact Galen. She is not in the headspace right now to have any of us contacting her. And let's do some work, and then we'll talk about possibly contacting her. Oh, heck no. She jumped right in, both feet. When I found out that she doesn't listen and basically does whatever she wants half-cocked, and she specifically was told not to do something. I was collaborating with another content creator and her. We both were like, what is going on here? I was done, because once you break my trust, I can't go back. I mean, it's so hard to re-earn trust. And that's what happened. And I didn't trust her anymore. And then right after that is when I found out that, oh, she contacted Galen. And I was like, are you kidding me? Well, then the next thing I knew is she was, doing all this stuff on Delphi. And I was like, what the heck is going on? You mean she was 2 feet into Flora and, and was all about Flora and kept telling me how awful Delphi was. She didn't want anything to do with Delphi because Delphi had all this money and, the girls have all this publicity and Flora has nothing. And she basically didn't give a crap about Delphi. And that's not the truth at all. Delphi was her whole, it was her whole focus.
Wow. So, when you and I discussed this earlier and you mentioned it, what made her say, like, why now? Why admit now that you were deceptive? You know what I mean? It's almost as though something may have happened where she's ready to admit, like, something, you know what I mean? Like, why is she trying to clear her conscience now?
I don't know, but I was like, my Jinx and I talked about it this afternoon on the phone, and I said, my God, don't let her try to get her talons back into Galen, because it sounds like, I don't know, she thought maybe if she came clean, she'd forgive her or whatever, she set up this foundation, the Flora 4 Foundation, and basically was, saying that the foundation was going to do all these things and collect all this money and do all this stuff. And it was all fake. It was a fake foundation, and it did get exposed. And, one of the things that I found out after the fact with her was she put out there to the airwaves that she was collecting money from people to get headstones for the 4 girls. And I heard that and I'm like, what is she talking about? The Flora girls have headstones. Why is she collecting money for headstones? Well, come to find out, she's like, it's just semantics. They're really flower vases. Well, excuse me, that's
my
fraud.
God.
That's fraud. You don't tell somebody, you don't set up a foundation and then tell people, well, I'm collecting money because these girls don't have any headstones, but turn around and say, well, really, it's just for flower vases to put on their graves.
Oh.
And this is what she did.
$1,000, thousands and thousands of dollars. And I mean, how many vases do you need? Because that's a lot of vases. That's a lot.
So when that came about and all of that came and everything came out, Galen, her eyes were open and she realized what was happening. And here was this person, like I said, who basically spoke to her every day, created this relationship. Can you imagine? It's another loss. You go through another grief process, because you think that this person is your friend and has been with you and talking to you and all of this stuff. And my goodness, you know, the pain that Galen must have gone through, I can't understand. I mean, I just don't get it, you know?
And I can't either, because when you look at her situation, this person comes in, she becomes her confidant now, right? She's
Yeah.
confiding in her, she's
Yep.
trusting, she's leaning, and you're absolutely right. To now find that the person whom you felt was in your corner the most, who would be the person that you can call on anytime, now you come to find out that this is fake. It was complete deception. My heart goes out. And then to have her come back on the show, because I'm pretty sure she had no idea that this lady was going to be present on that show. That's that. Like, lady, leave well enough alone. And I told you that website is back up. So I did check today. It is back up.
It is back up. So
It
the
is
Flora 4 website is back up.
It is back
It's
up.
just crazy. Like I said, I just I understand when things like this happen to victims and family members of these types of cases, and they're taken advantage of and exploited. It makes them so hard to trust anyone else that is wanting to do good by them. And it's sad because
Absolutely.
she needs that help. She needs the she needs people like us who's willing to do the right thing to bring about the publicity that she needs for this case, because this case is derailed. This case has got all kinds of issues, and we need to figure out, you know, how we're gonna get lights on it and put pressure on law enforcement to come on. You know, why are we not? I mean, you as the fire and, you know, investigator person, whatever, you already know. I mean, just from the stuff that you've seen, the stuff you've researched in just the
Absolutely.
short amount of time, you know that there's red flags every direction in this.
Oh, this thing is nothing but a red flag. It's, and I still cringe. And I told you I was writing the piece for, you know, what we're going to move forward in doing. And as I'm sitting here and I'm piecing things together, and I tell people, because I gotta, like, the story is so incredibly unbelievable
Yep.
that I find myself talking it out, because it's, did the firefighters really remove bodies from a scene and take it back to the fire station? And I'm like, they did. That's exactly what they did. Let me tell you, we wouldn't have a job. None of us would have a job today if we moved so much as a pencil from a crime scene and took it back to the station, because it's out of protocol. So, you know, so and you have to look at that too with Galen. So not only it's one thing if you have the murder mystery, someone, you know, and we're trying out who did it, who's the culprit, you know, how things, the price of things, I'm sorry, how the timeline of things may have occurred. She's not just dealing with that. On top of that, she is now dealing with a crooked fire department, a crooked police department, because they're the ones who exposed her. Well, not exposed her, but those are the ones who exposed her to the public from the vulnerable aspect of she has something to do with it, creating a false narrative to have people believing that she has something to do with these children's murder, you know, with the death of these children. She now also has to deal with potential insurance fraud, because I really think a lot of this has to do with an insurance fraud. That's what this stems from. So she has so many other pieces to the case that's outside of just the murder itself, just the crime itself, And like you said, it brings to have someone come in whom you feel is a confidant, who you feel is a support, which I'm so glad she has us. I still have yet to meet her, but I promise you, I am one of her biggest supporters, and she's never met, And I told you when I was on here the last time, we're working behind the scenes right now, doing a lot of things, getting ready to move forward with the project you and I were talking about, as far as, what are we doing to shed light on this situation. And I tell you what, I still at night, I'm just learning of this, but I wake up and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what about, how did this? So there are still so many pieces that wake me up in the middle of the night.
Right.
So many
Oh.
pieces.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
There is a post on Reddit, guys, and it's in Delphi Trial, the Reddit sub called Delphi Trial. And it was the post is by someone named TEW2109. It was posted 4 days ago. And this is something that I want to read because it speaks to a lot of things here. Unfortunately, I get the impression it's the other way around. I mean, Kara is genuinely out of her mind, and it's telling that Baldwin and Rosie, which are the defense attorneys for Richard Allen, have relied on her in a way as in a telling sign of their lack of judgment. But in general, I think the defense is willfully using these people to push a conspiratorial narrative, not desperately flailing around and jumping on things. I think the defense is doing this on purpose, and the internet trolls are overwhelmed and flattered by the attention. Angela and Courtney have been around the Delphi community for ages, along with Paul. They've moderated large Reddit communities. Nicole Sleuthy is a bit newer, but she's fairly well known in the true crime community. For years, Paul, Courtney, and Angela seemed to passionately believe that Ron Logan was guilty of this crime. When Allen was arrested, they were really, really angry and seemed to take it personally for some reason. The split appears to have happened in the last several months. Paul still believed Logan was guilty, and according to him, Angela and Courtney took the side of the investigator for one of the defense firms, Matt Hoffman, which was to let Logan go and focus on the odinist theory. According to Paul, Hoffman said something to the effect of, "We can get to the truth of the murders, or we can get Rick out of jail." Paul took that sentiment to mean that they know the odinist theory isn't a strong one and isn't likely to be true, but they believe it will help Allen's case more than the Logan theory, seemingly in the hopes that they can influence the jury pool enough to find someone sympathetic to conspiracies on the jury and at least hang the jury. Paul didn't want to participate in that, according to him, so he severed his ties with the group and took back sole control of his unraveled social media accounts. As for why legal professionals would get involved with these people, I described it in another reply, but Kara is a hardcore conspiracy theorist on a wide variety of subjects, so she's speaking the same language as these people in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, she also seems to have ongoing ties to the defense. According to the messages, she co-wrote the motion for parody, where the defense claimed they weren't getting funds for experts, and she acknowledged in the messages that it was more for the public to read, also known as a press release disguised as a motion. I don't know if Osbrook is an overall conspiracy theorist, but he's been very, very active in multiple social media groups, pressing the conspiracy that the Bridge Guy video is fake, and it is really the German and Patty family who is responsible for these murders. So again, we just go back to why these people do what they do, why they are so invested in pushing all of this. And is it possible that this is really the defense searching people out that might be a little off hinged or whatever, so that they know that they will push this narrative on every single platform, and once they get wind of these people, they just use them?
Well, that's a
I
strategy.
I think that is a very possible. Again, the defense's whole thing is to put doubt, reasonable doubt, into people's minds, and that's what they've been doing. That's what their job is. But for these people to help them and then say, I'm like, what is your deal? Why are you even in true crime? Why are you even in this genre? This is not a game. This is madness, in my opinion. Just like my title of tonight's live stream was "Stop the Madness." This is not a game. This is just pure madness.
That's a hell of a strategy for the defense, though. That's smart.
That's how I really see it, because with all the things that they've been doing for the last 2 years, it just makes sense to me. I just can't imagine professionals wanting to have these types of individuals that would come out and say something so horrible about victims and dead children specifically, why they would want that even associated with them, their practice, or or anything.
Right. No.
So I just think, they're going to use whatever. They're going to use whatever platform they can get. And these people are not intelligent enough to see it.
True.
That they're being used.
Absolutely.
To push a narrative, no matter what that narrative is, as long as it's their client's not guilty.
That's right. And there are so many people eager enough to get into this space and have that platform, and they'll do anything just to be heard. Again, we're going back to the notion that there are probably more people who are mentally traumatized, physically and emotionally traumatized, that actually aren't. Like we're just, this world, you're going to come across more people who are probably traumatized than not. So it's,
you always hear about people who want their 15 minutes of fame. Is that what we're looking at here? Are these people hoping that they'll get called onto national TV when they're talking about Delphi, and have them sit up there and ask questions? Do they want to be the people that's names are in the documents? My Lord, when they started saying they were going to be sending out subpoenas and calling YouTubers, I was like, oh my God, they better not call me. I was like, I don't want to be, called in there. And that would be the last thing that I would want, is to have to, appear in court in this case. This is not about me.
No.
And that's what I've tried to express to my followers, for years, that this case isn't about us.
That's right.
And these people who try to make it about themselves, or make it about their channels, or make it about their lives or their drama or whatever, they just need to stop,
Absolutely. I don't know. I'm telling you, I will definitely keep praying on this, because this is it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better. And we just have to pray for the spirit of discernment, and that.
Well, this Angela person, I don't know her, never talked to her, whatever. But I'm just saying, she inserted herself into that. She made it into the CW's spotlight. She was in their interview that they did for their documentary. And so there you go. I mean, these people, I think, once they get a taste of that, then they don't want to let go of it. And I don't know where they plan on going, because once this case is over and done with, are they going to come back and apologize for any of this stuff?
Oh,
You know,
they'll move on to the next case. They'll torment somebody else's sad life, sadness in their life. It's what they'll do.
Yeah. And that's the sad thing, these families don't have the ability. I mean, I don't even think they have the strength, to muster, to fight all these crazy people, or it's kind of like I tried to tell Galen, that's what we're here for. We're your army, we're here. That's how I kind of feel today, for Abby and Libby. I couldn't sit back anymore and not say anything, because I do have this platform, and, I don't know how many people will watch, but hopefully I just want to try to get to the people that are doing this and have them take a step back and look at themselves and reassess yourself, because like you said, it's how do you go to bed at night? How do you sleep with yourself? How do you, how do you get up in the morning and start another day knowing that you're hurting people?
Absolutely. Because I would think that I would be looking over my shoulder all the time. I would look over my shoulder all the time, because I know that what I'm doing isn't right. And I would just be waiting on, what is it, because it's coming back. It's going to come back.
Thank you, Nana, for your $10 super sticker and supporting this live stream. I appreciate you so very much. Yeah, I mean, it's like, there's been a lot of hurt and a lot of sadness around this case. We had a man, I don't know how familiar you are with Delphi, but I think you follow it.
Yep, I do.
So, we had a man, when the crime scene photos were leaked by, the persons associated with the defense team, this person helped share these photos out, and he was an active duty military Air Force guy who ended up killing himself. I mean, he actually committed suicide over this.
Wow.
So we have so much pain around this case.
Right.
And I'm like, I think that's one of the reasons that Judge Francis Gull got so mad a year and a half ago. My kitty is coughing, because, she knows that this happened when the crime scene photos were released, and that we have this death. And it's just like, how much pain does one case need to have after the fact? When you're starting to have people, lose their lives, and, there's a content creator that's ending up divorced because of this case. There's just so much pain. And yeah, I mean, maybe they brought all that on themselves, but still, again, it's, our genre that's not what this is about. And I mean, if you were to go to CrimeCon and walk around CrimeCon and meet these families and meet these victims, that are tirelessly working to try to get resolution to their missing loved ones or their cold cases of their murdered loved ones, they are not going to be talking about this kind of drama and this kind of stuff around their cases. This is not what they want. And yet I know it doesn't matter what case you go to online, it has some element of this. Wow. And so these kinds of people, like you said, I think there's a lot of mental illness that is unchecked out there, that these people they don't have anything better to do. So this is what they do. This is what they found to do. It's an outlet for them.
Absolutely. And no one has to know, because like you said earlier, they're just hiding behind the keyboard.
Exactly. And I always said people who weren't really willing to put their face with their name or their face with, I get why we have to be careful online about, we have to be careful, and
Yeah.
we have to try to protect ourselves to some degree.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first started my channel, I didn't want to go live. I was just doing videos because, and you were just hearing my voice. You know, my at the time, my I guess he's 14 and a half year old, no, sorry, 15-year-old grandson said, Grams, you can't show your face. This is an unsolved murder that you're talking about. And he was so worried about me.
Wow.
And, you know, there came a point a few months in where I was like, you know what? I got to show myself. People aren't going to just want to hear a voice. You know, that's a podcast and they can go anywhere. If you're on YouTube, you want to see who who's talking to you, and you want to, you know. And so I decided to do that. And I don't hide. I don't have alternative you know, people that I go and post under, or names. I can't believe all the people that do that. And I'm like, I don't have the time
Right.
to do that. I
No.
have a busy life, and I couldn't, I don't know how they even keep it straight.
Right. Right. I don't either.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, Kristen, I wish I could stay,
Oh,
but
no,
your
you're
clock on
fine.
the wall says I've got to be up in about 4 more hours.
Oh my God,
Well,
no.
probably not 4, probably got about 5
I'm
or 6 more
so
hours.
glad that you were here with me, though. I'm
I am
really glad
blessed.
that you came, and
Thank you
it's
so much.
always good to have you. And we need to do a live on Flora soon.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
with a panel. Maybe I can get Coach Kev and Galen to come on with us.
That'd be great. That'd
And
be
I
great.
think we should do that. So
Absolutely. I love that. I would love that. Well, thank you so
thank
much.
you so much for
And
being
thanks
here.
to everybody, all of your viewers. Have a great night. And
Thank
we
you.
so much, I know I speak for them like I speak for myself. We're in so much support of you and all of your endeavors. And we are so blessed to have
Aw,
you doing what you do with the passion that you have. You continue to stay as beautiful as you are. And thank you so much.
thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yes,
And we'll
ma'am.
talk soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Love her, guys. She's great. And really enjoy having her on my show. And we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes for Flora, and we'll announce that when the time is right. But there's a lot happening. And it's, you know, there comes a time, hold on a second. Hey, Duchess, thank you so much for your excuse me, your super chat. I appreciate it. $9.99. Thanks for speaking out, Kristen. Speaking out matters. You know, it does. And I've held my tongue a lot, and I don't like calling people out by name. I don't like any of that because, you know, it doesn't do a lot. And I know people are like, well, you know, all you're doing is making them angry, and they're just going to want to come and, you know, retaliate against you. And all I can say is bring it on, because I can't sit back and watch these victims' families be hurt like this and not say something. It hurts me too much. And I think it should hurt all of us in this arena. We should never, ever want to do harm. And like I said, there's a difference between having an opinion about whether or not Richard Allen may or may not be guilty. We haven't seen all the evidence to have that actual opinion. Basically, what is out there, we can have an opinion on that. But this is not about us. It's not about any of us. We don't, you know, I don't live in Delphi. I don't have a tie to Delphi. I don't have a dog in the fight. But I do feel a kinship to the families, and I do feel that I do share knowledge of some of what they've gone through. And, it's, hey, Randy, good to see you. Um, it's, I don't understand trolls. I never will understand what makes somebody just want to troll around the internet all night long, going to different lives or different chats and being this way. I just don't get it. But I don't think we're going to ever get rid of them. And what do we as content consumers, what do we do, or what can we do? We can be very selective on what we watch, what we share, and who we give a voice to. If these people were not allowed or watched or listened to, they'd disappear. They would disappear. If people were not listening and watching, they would go away. That's how we combat it. To me, that is the only way to combat it, is to not give them our time. So I just ask that people listen closer to what is being said. Try to stay out of the drama. When you're if you choose to be in a Discord and you hear people saying things like this or doing, please, my God, do the right thing and call them out. Hey, Don, how are you, my dear? Be careful out there driving and listening. Because it's time that we put our foot down. This Delphi case, we're coming to some adjudication soon. In fact, I did want to say today, you guys saw me on Frank Meister's live stream the other night, and we all already know that the Supreme Court denied the defense's motion. And let's see. Let's see. Oh, let's see. What was I looking for? Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. So today, there was a filing, the defendant's reply to the state's response to the defense fourth motion for Frank's hearing and request for hearing for reasons detailed herein. Comes now Richard Allen by counsel and files his reply to the state's response to defense's fourth motion for Frank's hearing. In support of said reply, the defense states the following. On April 29th, the accused, Richard Allen, filed a new request for a Frank's hearing based upon new evidence. Number 2, said request was the fourth Frank's notice filed by the defense. Number 3, in said request, the defense detailed newly discovered evidence, hereafter called the Blocker report, that suggests that the phone that was found at the scene where the victims of the murders were ultimately found on February 14th, 2017, had actually been taken out of the area on February 13th, 2017, before being brought back to the area at some point in time on February 14th, 2017. Number 4, the prosecution turned over the Blocker report approximately 14 months after the state was required to turn over the evidence. And this newly discovered evidence shows that on February 13th, 2017, one of the victims' phones were outside the area of where the bodies were ultimately found. Judge Diener had a right to know this information before issuing a search warrant, and as said evidence completely throws off the state's timeline of events, thereby exonerating Richard Allen. Number 5, this is important because law enforcement have maintained from the beginning of the case that the girls were murdered on February 13th, 2017, and remained in the place they were found from the following day, never leaving the area where they were ultimately found. Number 6, this new evidence, therefore, would show that the phone and the victims were taken outside of the area where they were ultimately found, but then brought back to the area at a later time. Number 7, in his response to the fourth Faxx request, the prosecution makes several assertions that simply aren't accurate or true. Number 8, the prosecutor is not a digital forensic expert, and his assertions should not be accepted as true or accurate by this court until he presents evidence and or testimony that supports his assertions. Similarly, the defense attorneys are not digital forensic experts as well, and therefore the defense would also request this court to not accept their assertions as fact. Number 10, rather, on such an important issue as to whether law enforcement failed to inform Judge Diener concerning evidence related to the timeline that would have indicated to Judge Diener that Richard Allen did not commit these murders, the defense would request this court to set a Faxx hearing to hear both sides before making any determinations. 11, simply stated, though, the pleadings filed by both sides, two competing narratives have formed. The state of Indiana disagrees with the defense's interpretation of the digital forensic evidence and the Blocker report, while the defense disagrees with the state of Indiana and its interpretation of the digital evidence and the Blocker report. 12, a hearing would allow the court to listen to the evidence and draw its own conclusions from that evidence rather than believing one side or the other on these issues of pings and the Blocker report, as this court has little or no context concerning the facts to make any decisions, nor presumably the expertise to make such a decision based solely upon pleadings filed by each. Wherefore, the defense requests that this court to simply not accept the prosecution's nor the defense's assertions concerning pings and the impact of Sergeant Blocker's report, and to set this matter for a hearing where the court can hear direct testimony of state and defense witnesses subject to cross-examination before making any rulings on this important matter. Respectfully submitted, Andrew J. Baldwin. And that was what came out today. That was one of the things that came out today. The defense also filed a motion for leave to present mini opening statement to the jury panel prior to voir dire. And comes now the defendant by counsel and moves this court for leave to present a mini opening statement to the jury panel prior to the commencement of voir dire. And as basis for such motion states, Indiana Jury Rule 14B provides to facilitate the jury panel's understanding of the case. With the court's consent, the parties may present brief statements of facts and issues, many opening statements to be determined by the jury. Number 2, the defendant asserts that their right to a fair and impartial jury, as constitutionally guaranteed, will be enhanced by this procedure because a more meaningful exchange of information will take place during voir dire. If the parties are allowed to preview the main issues to be contested at trial. Number 3, the defendant believes that those issues can be effectively summarized by each party pursuant to Jury Rule 14B in 3 minutes or less. Wherefore, the defendant by counsel respectfully requests the court permit a mini opening statement by each party immediately prior to each party's first round of voir dire, and that the court determine the amount of time allotted therefor. The defendant further requests that any time given by the court for mini openings not be deducted from the time limitations the court sets for conducting voir dire. Respectfully submitted, Andrew Baldwin. So that happened today as well. And we still are set to have the hearings next week at the end of the month. And Frank Meister is going to be there. I believe on the 30th. I don't believe he's going to be there on the 31st, possibly the 1st. So that's what's going on with Delphi. And we are getting close, you guys. I mean, we're coming into the end of July. We've got August and September, and then we have October and the trial. So this next week, when she starts hearing all of these motions, it is going to be really, really interesting, because this is one of the things that is going to tell what is allowed in, what evidence gets allowed in, and what evidence gets not allowed in. And that is going to be a huge thing for this case. So I'm anxious to see what transpires next week. I will be live to deal with that. I don't know if I haven't talked to Frank Meister yet, and I don't know what we're going to be doing, if we're going to do a live on his channel, if Ruckus will be a part of that or not. I know Ruckus is pretty much done with Delphi, and he is on to Evansdale, which I totally and absolutely understand, because I do believe that Delphi is pretty much in the bag. I do believe that there are going to be a lot of people that are extremely surprised by some of the evidence that may come out in this case once we get to trial. But yeah, I wanted to come on tonight because of everything that Tom Webster, and thank you, Tom, for putting out that live stream. I've never, it was funny, I've never heard you cuss. And so when I was hearing you cuss, I was laughing as I was watching it. No, unfortunately, I will not be attending any of the hearings. My grandson doesn't start school until the end of July. And so I have him. And because it's the middle of the week and I will be having him, I can't, unfortunately, pull myself away. I'm 3 hours away, so I won't be able to do that. But I definitely know that Frank Meister will be there. And I'm really, him and Rescue All the Dogs will be there. And they will be our eyes and ears in the court. So yeah, it was interesting, CJK, seeing Tom get upset. Yeah, it was good. I love it. But so, but I thank you guys. What was I going to say? My brain is fried. I am so tired. I can't remember. Oh, I was going to tell you. So we will, I'm planning on having a live on Saturday night. I don't yet know if it's going to be Delphi or Flora. I think it's going to be Flora related, because I think that I'm really trying to keep Flora in the mainstream, and we really need to be talking more about Flora. So, but I will be live on Saturday night, and from this point, as far as I know, I just have to sit down and figure it out. But yeah, I just, like I said, I hope you guys understand why I ranted, why I went off a little bit tonight. It's long overdue. I hope that some of my other creators will come out and do so, and at least put out videos or something, and say, that we're tired of this, and tired of this behavior, because it's just wrong. So anyway, I'm going to head out of here. I've got a 7-year-old that will be here in the morning, bright and early. And, but yeah, Fig is a gem, anyone who talks bad about him is a hater, because he is well loved throughout the Delphi community. And, if they set their sights on me, it's fine. I don't care. I really don't care, you guys. I feel that this topic, you just can't ignore. But I was glad to see Fig here tonight because he's awesome. He's absolutely awesome, and I love him to death. But yeah, everybody take care of yourself. Thank you for everyone who donated to my live stream tonight. I appreciate you all so very much. For those of you that are subscribers, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all of my moderators who are always loyal and come every single time I have a live stream and help me keep the riffraff down and keep the chat flowing and keeping everybody on an even keel. We have such a good community here, you guys. And this is about Abby and Libby. And I don't want anybody to, hang on a second, to forget that. It's so important to remember that it is about them. Good Lord, can't get my screen. And so we want to remember the girls, and justice is coming. Guys, keep your heads up. Please be kind. It doesn't take anything to be kind. And if you don't do anything at all this week, try to pay it forward. I will see and talk to you all later. Good night, everybody.